circle. Before you continue watching this video, make sure to subscribe to the Agoramagical channel. This is Junior Intermediate Session 5 Lecture Notes, and it's based on division. And the topics we're going to be covering in division are the basics of division, quotients and remainders, dividing 1, 2, and 3-digit quotients, and zeros in the quotients. So, what is division? Good question. Division is one of the 4 basic operations in arithmetic. It is also splitting numbers into equal parts or groups. So, let's look at an example. 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. We can represent this by drawing 6 circles and splitting them into 3 equal groups. Count to see how many is in each group. 1, 2, 2. So the answer to this division equation is 2. So let's look at the parts of this equation. 6, in this case, would be known as the dividend. 3 is the divisor, and 2 is the answer, which is known as the quotient. So now you know the basics of division. So now let's look at some word problems. Let's read this out loud. There are 12 chocolates and 3 children. How many chocolates can be given so that each child gets the same amount? So now, let's write down the main parts, which is 12. So we need to split 12 into 3 equal parts to get the answer. So now, we have to divide 12 by 3 to find the answer or quotient. To find the quotient, what you need to do is to add 3 to itself as many times until you get to 12. So now let's try that. 3, 6, 9, and 12. So now we know that 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is the answer. Now let's add it into the circles to see if 4 times 3 is equal to 12. 4 plus 4 is 8, and 8 plus 4 is 12. That's 3 times, so we know that 4 is the answer. Let's answer the question. Each child gets 4 chocolates, which is the same amount. So now let's move on to quotient and remainders. So let's first find out what a remainder is. A remainder is a number that is left after dividing. So now let's solve this equation, which is going to have a remainder included. So we're going to use the method that we use for long division to solve this equation. So in this equation, 11 is the dividend. So the dividend always has to be inside the line. And in this equation, the divisor is 5. And 5 has to be over here. What's the closest number that you can multiply by 5 to get to 11? So the answer is 2. So let's try it. 2 times 5 is 10. To find the remainder, you need to subtract 11 by 10. You get that the remainder is 1. To write the remainder, you have to write it next to the quotient and write 1 like this. So now, let's write it down over here. The quotient is 2, and the remainder is 1. So, 2 remainder 1 is the answer to this question. Let's look at more problems with 1-digit quotients. There are 3 new ones right here. 16 divided by 3, 17 divided by 3, and 19 divided by 4. First, let's start with A. 16 divided by 3. So, 16, which is the dividend, has to be inside the box, while 3, the divisor, has to be outside. Let's start working on this problem. So, what number is closer to 16, which is a multiple of 3? Let's count. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But 18 is way too far ahead, so it has to be 15. So you would write 15 right here, below 16. But what times 3 is equal to 15? 5. So the quotient, 5, has to go above, over here. So let's subtract to find out the remainder. 16 minus 15 is equal to 1. So the answer is 5, remainder 1. Now let's do another problem. 17 divided by 3. So you would use the same method for this. What number closest to 17 is a multiple of 3? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But again, 18 is too far ahead, so it has to be 15. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So 5, the quotient, has to go above. So let's subtract 15 from 17 to get the remainder. So the answer is 5, remainder 2. Let's do our last problem, 19 divided by 4. So let's do this again. What number closest to 19 is a multiple of 4? 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. But 20 is too far and it's greater than 19. So the answer is 16. But what times 4 is equal to 16? 4. So 4, the quotient, goes above again. So let's subtract 16 from 19 to get the remainder. 3. 4, remainder 3 is the answer. Okay, let's solve some more harder problems. Let's solve problems with 2 and 3 digit quotients. So here's 2 of them. 57 divided by 3. We can solve this using the long division method. So in order to solve this, you first need to take the digit with the highest value, the tens value in this case, which is 5. So how many 3's are there in 5? There's only 1. So you bring the 3 down and subtract from 5 to get 2. Then you need to bring the 7 down because you cannot divide 2 by 3. And you get 27. There are 9 3's in 27, so you write the 9 right here. Now, 9 times 3 is 27. So you can subtract to get 0. In this problem, there are no remainders. So the answer is 19. Okay, let's do problem number 2. 580 divided by 4. Like I said, you need to take the digit with the highest value. And in this case, it is the hundredths digit, which is 5. So there's only 1 4 and 5. So let's write a 1 right here. Subtract 4 from 5 to get 1. But then you need to bring the 8 down because you cannot divide 1 by 4. So what is the closest number to 18 that is a multiple of 4? It's 4. So write a 4 right here. Then you can subtract to get 2. But then we need to bring this down because you cannot divide 2 by 4. So what is 20 divided by 4? It is 5. So you can bring this down and subtract. So the answer in this problem would be 145. In the last problem, we were dividing using 2 to 3 digit quotients. Now we're going to be doing the same thing except with zeros in the quotients. So now, let's repeat the steps we did in the last problem. We first multiply with the hundreds. We get 4 because 1 times 4 is 4. And then we subtract. We bring down the 3. However, there are 0 4's in 3, so we multiply 0 by 4. And we bring down the 0 here and subtract that. However, we don't go to the remainders yet since we also have the ones place over here to bring down. When we bring this down, we get 2. So, what times 4 is equal to 32? Let's see. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. That's 8. So, we know that 8 times 4 is 32. There are none remaining, so now we know that 432 divided by 4 is equal to 108. So we've learned the other methods on how to do division, but we haven't really learned how to divide 0 by any number, or divide any number by 0, or divide any number by 1. So now, let me explain to you what happens when you divide 0 by any number. When you divide 0 by any number, for example, 2, the answer is still 0. in number 2, when you divide any number by 0, the answer is undefined, which means you can't solve it. So, any number 2 by 0 is undefined, since you can't solve it. Any number divided by 1 is the same number, so it remains the same. So, 2 divided by 1 is still 2. So, knowing that, go ahead and solve another problem. What about 1,024 divided by 1? If you look at this, any number divided by 1, you know that 1,024 divided by 1 is the same number, which is 1,024. So now you know all the methods. Knowing this, go ahead and do all the practice problems. So now let's do word problem number 2. Let's read it aloud. Nora sold $380 worth of tickets to a football game. Each ticket is $4. How many tickets did Nora sell? To find this out, we have to divide $380, which is the total amount of dollars she made selling these football tickets, and we know that each ticket is $4. So we have to divide 380 by 4. So let's write this down before we do the equation. 380 is a big number, so let's divide using the long division method. Since there aren't any numbers you can divide 3 by from 4, you have to take these two numbers to divide by 4. So, what times 4 is the closest number to 38? We know the answer is 9, since 9 times 4 is 36, and that's pretty close to 38. So 9 times 4 is 36. So we subtract to get 2. However, there isn't a remainder yet, since we still have the ones place to bring down. So let's bring the one place down, and we get something times 4 is 20. So what times 4 is 20? We know that 20 divided by 4 is 5. So 5 times 4 is 20. So once we subtract that, we get 0 as the remainder. So we know that there aren't any remainders. So we know that the answer is 95. So let's write that down and answer the question. So box in the answers. So let's see. Nora sold 95 tickets during the football game. So that's the answer to the word problem. So let's do a logic problem using division. Here's a math kangaroo problem. Let's read it out loud. Vero's mother prepares sandwiches with 2 slices of bread each. A package has 24 slices. How many sandwiches can she prepare from 2.5 packages? So you know that one sandwich needs 2 slices. And you know that one package has 24 slices. So let's draw 2.5 packages. Each package contains 24. So this contains 24 slices, this contains 24 slices, and this contains 24 divided by 2, which we all know is 12. So, in order to find out the total number of slices, you need to add 24 plus 24 plus 12 is, what is 24 plus 24? 48. And 48 plus 12 is 60. So, now you need to use division to find out how many sandwiches there are. There are 60 slices, but in order to find how many sandwiches there are, you need to do 60 divided by 2. And that is equal to 30. So, you know there are 30 sandwiches. This concludes the Junior Intermediate Session 5 lecture notes. Thank you for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe and like. If you have any questions, you can email info@agouramathcircle.org or comment below and we'll reply back. Maybe. And if you want to see practice things or anything about us, you can visit our website, which is basically the end of the email, but without the info and the end. So bye!